it is a bit like a trumpet, kind of like a fanfare. So I will not vibrate so much. Because you're vibrating a lot. Maybe don't vibrate too much at the very start. It is a response to the orchestra, right? Bom, 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 and bom, bom, bom. Kind of have it slightly a bit more like a pretend you're a trumpet. Those two words. I think for my taste is a bit too much time. It should still go to the last. These little accents that you right here, kind of like cantato. It's very vocal. Like this. And then that way this will feel more loud. It should be a bit less maybe. It makes more difference. And also this you can show us that this is kind of a little bit painful at the moment. So also change your sound, make it a bit more standard. Also, there are difference between the first theme and the second theme. Such a very intense moment. And when you I think that's more tender, not quite so more tender. extremely Spanish. So these figurations, I think are not really ta ta ta. It's more like ta ta ta. Are often slightly pressed. Ta ta ta. Di da da ta da da da.
That's I think the older you get, the harder it is to
control the bow. But if you use the weight, the players who use it, who mainly use the weight of the bow, are those who can still play with good sound when they're 70 years old. And otherwise, you sometimes can start to hear it starts to sound forced or uncontrolled. And then as you perform, it's natural. Yeah.
70살이 돼도 팔을 잘 쓰는 사람들은 억지로 팔을 자기가 어떻게 컨트롤 해보려고 하는 사람들이 아니라 팔의 본연의 무게가 어떻게 밸런스가 이렇게 있는지 이해를 하는 사람들이라고요.
Okay. And I don't know what you just said, but I assume yes, okay. And then it's natural to feel more tense when you perform. So like you feel your performance, and you're like, if you're tense, you have to be aware of when you perform, where is it tense, what are you doing? Sometimes, you tense up here or different the wrist, and then that's something you work on after each performance. You sort of have to think, what was it that happened? And it's something ongoing to keep relaxing, and so that's basically, yes, and then.
연주할 때 힘이 굉장히 많이 들어가게 느껴지는 게 자연스러운 거고, 대신 내가 내 힘이 어디에 들어갔는지, 여기지 안 들어가야 될 때 힘이 들어가면 안 되니까.
You look at different violinists, they do it differently, but you just need to have enough room that you can be relaxed. That's the key. If you're too stuck to the neck, too much contact here, I think it's not good. But I don't think that's a problem. I didn't think that was a problem.
Right.
Sometimes when there's a very long line, you let go of it a little bit too soon. The other thing is with the vibrato, which sounds very nice, but using mainly the arm. I think the one thing is, if you think about having the wrist loose while doing the same kind of vibrato, I think it will give you more possibilities. Also vibrating like this. The thing is, it becomes hard to control, especially when you go from one note to the next. If you try to you want to keep vibrating and gradually grow the vibrato through the phrase, that is more difficult if it's all arm. And as you get older, also I think it's harder to do that. And I found if I just keep my wrist kind of loose and I do the same thing. It is considerably easier to control, and for every vibration of the arm, the wrist is also doing something. So I think if you just if this is loose, it would change. It's something to work on or think about. But I think if we did that, it's much easier to make the vibrato wider, to change it and to control it, because no matter what the arm does, there's something that's kind of smooths it out a little bit in a natural way. You don't have to control every single vibration yourself. You know, yes. Okay. Then when you're doing this, right now every note. I want you to gradually start the vibrato and grow it through the whole phrase. So not too much, but keep going. So when you change notes, right away start the note with the vibrato you had on the previous one. If the wrist is loose, it will be easier to control. This is something I learned. And when I was, how old are you? What is it? 14. Yeah, so when I was your age, I was vibrating like this. You managed to get me to realize that I was dancing here. But basically, if you do arm vibrato like you are, but your wrist is loose, I think it would help. Yep. Can you start again? hard for the orchestra to go in the right place. Because you're stretching, this is a lot of violinists do this, that they go, you play the last note a lot longer. I would pace it more naturally so that so get faster gradually, get slower gradually. You see what I mean? But right now it's da di da di da di da di da da. When you're doing this, exaggerate. Instead, and if you play this way, it will always be together. It's so easy to know. We all know where that is. With orchestra, you can never hear the soloist. You know what I mean? And at the very end, so if the conductor makes the orchestra play softly, then you can hear most of it, but at the end, it's not possible to hear. So you need to make like use enough bow so that people think they can still hear you. Every time there's the dissonance, strange. But I think the idea, Barber's idea is that there is a kind of almost like an accelerando into this. This is why you go da, pa, da, ta, 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 ti, da, ti, da, ti, da, 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 da. Right? That's what he writes. And so your direction should also be the same. Yeah, you have to keep breathing. It's very important. Yeah. What I said earlier about the weights of the bow, using mainly the weights, that helps with the shaking. And don't stop breathing. If you stop, if you stop breathing, then this can start. Yeah, my bow used to shake a lot. It was basically, I breathe more. Sometimes you can practice. Okay, if you start something, Barber is not too bad. But if you're performing this, for example, second movement, you have to come in like this. It's very hard to put it. So I would practice it with the breathing, and I would breathe in on the down bow and out on the up bow. So breathe opposite of the bow. Does this make sense? Yeah. Yeah, it's Smirnoff's name, actually. Yes, they told you also. Yeah. We had the same teacher. So, you go. Now you breathe out. And if you're still shaking, you can push your diaphragm down. And it does stop the shaking from somewhat. It's a good sign. If your heart is beating fast and you're shaky, it means that you have emotion. So that probably makes the performance better. But you just need to control enough that you can get past the beginning of the performance.
가슴이 뛰고 막 nervous 되고 긴장이 된다는 거는 뭔가 감정이 많다는 좋은 사인이기 때문에 그걸 즐기라는 말씀이세요.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. soft E. Dum, bum, 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 bum. Then if you're always aware of that, this one is always the appoggiatura. I always talk about appoggiatura. But it's quite good already. When you do this, it's a little bit too compressed, the notes. You kind of going. I would do it more exact and rhythm. So
가볍게 성공을 Smirnoff used to talk about.
Yes. Well, he's talking about. Smirnoff talks a lot about this.
Yeah.
But I think it's. Well, I guess that's what it is, right? It's like a.
Yeah, kind of the same.
But he rotates the arm. I was kind of thinking of this, but it's the same idea that there's a rotation.
Rotation.
Yeah. It's rotation so that you never switch place. If you're just doing this and now C major, I think it can be a little lighter. E minor. It's a bit dramatic. Just kidding. And then E minor should be different than the thumb. Should be different when it's E minor. Each one a little bit different. You have to play with us a little bit in this place. And if you try to decide what to do, I think just you hear how the harmonies sound. Sometimes it's like a bit dramatic, and sometimes it's very relaxed. And does that make sense? And I would avoid always doing. I think it can just be. I think it would be easier to hear the notes. But at least I wouldn't do it every time. Do like E to lengthen the first note. It doesn't have to be so intense. It can be. So it's a little bit more. It doesn't have to be so. Such a virtuoso moment can be very playful. The key for that. Right now, I'm not hearing all the notes. The key for this is to actually be very calm and not too high up on the string. Figure out exactly where you need to be for the bow, like position and height above the string. Exactly where is it? And then you just make sure you exactly that place, it will always be the same. I think rather than trying to throw it on, if you're throwing the bow, then that's very risky. And I don't know, if you're different in a performance or something, then you throw it differently, it's so hard to control. But if you just make sure it's in the right place and you drop the bow, then it will just bounce. You know, it's like dropping a ball and it'll bounce. It's much easier than throwing it exactly the same. Does this make
너무
sense?
높이 위에서 던져버리면
For the harmonic, should be like yippee, right? Like a very happy sound. So also, I forgot this. I mentioned this. The fact that the second one should be louder, I think. So, and most of the bow for the high note. So if you're with this thing. Right now, I can't really hear the middle of it, and I think you can take more time. You don't need to try to be super fast if you're like the harmonies. So if you're so much time, then we lose, like, where were we going? We don't remember. But we want to take the time here, because it's so beautiful to be in F major. But now think about cadencing. So you still have to keep sight of where you're going. At the actual moment though, when it turns to F major, there will change the sound. This kind of thing. Dolce.
F major 가는데 계속 더 보여줘. So fast that we can understand what's going on, and make sure that they're grouped the right way so we understand what's happening on mind. You know what I mean? I think if you think about it once, what is he doing with the harmonies, and then you just play what you want, then it will be good. Just need to know. I don't think I had anything for the end. Do you want to play anything for the side maybe? Just playing louder is an unmusical thing to do, right? So what I try to do, especially if it's music that's very elegant, and I want it to stay elegant, and I want it to be, have the same character but louder, then my process is usually I look for what's the loudest part of the phrase, and make that louder, and the whole thing kind of comes up. So I don't know if this is a good example here, but for example, if I wanted to
start here, and maybe there are concertos. So then somehow I can get to a somewhat similar expression by making the loudest ones louder, and then the whole thing. So the part of it's, I mean, well, you know, when I came to Juilliard, I couldn't play the alto because I was.
I didn't either.
But then we had a teacher who was very a little bit obsessed.
She was obsessed with the Lalo.
Obsessed.
우리 선생님이 메가토에 완전히 집착이셨거든요. 그래서 내가 한국 맨날 연습 때 메가토 얘기하는 그 영향이 있긴 해요.
Yes. I mean, I really like this kind of portato, you know. I like to, and I still like to do it sometimes. If you manage to make your string change, your bow changes in both directions in a way that keeps the sound going, and you keep the contact with the string, that the violin will just keep ringing, and it's much louder and more.
메가토를 정말 잘 쓰면서 줄이랑 컨택을 계속 유지를 하면 큰 콘서트에서 멀리 들을수록 그게 연결이 잘 되는데 폴타토 같이 이런 끊어서 하면 작은 방에서는 그게 연결되는 것처럼 숨길 수도 있는데
Every concerto has moments where you can play soft anyway, and where you can do portato, and there's always moments to it. But if you think, why is this not loud enough? How can I play louder than that?
정말 큰 소리를 내고 싶어요.
Very nice to hear you. Thank you. Bravo. Yeah.